So the next film is called Swarm of Doves, and it is a 2017 war film directed by Ramadan Khasrouh. I'm sorry if that's... How do you actually pronounce it, Abdullah?
Yeah, give me a second. Let me try to Google him.
And it's set towards the end of the Gulf War as coalition military drive Iraqi forces into retreat. It follows a group of Kuwaiti resistance fighters as they struggle to defend their suburb against enemy soldiers seeking refuge from the battlefield. Swarm of Doves is essentially a siege film, with most of the action taking place in a single house as the resistance fighters exchange fire with the area enemy outside. It's a tense, nerve-wracking, and claustrophobic action film with moments of pathos and heartache. I was moved by the camaraderie of the soldiers and the insights into their lives before the war. Unfortunately, I found the ending very unsatisfying, and I couldn't quite follow the constant dove metaphors, but overall, I liked it. Were you able to find the director's name, Abdullah?
I think I'm gonna say it might be wrong. Ramadan Khasrouh might be wrong.
Okay.
I'm saying it. I'm saying it. I googled it, so this is the way it's written. I don't know if you know much about how Arabic is written, but Arabic you don't have like the short vowel, so I'm guessing what it is.
And then there's the Arabic title, which is, I think it's Sarab
You
al
want me to say it?
Hammam.
No, Sirb Min
Oh, okay. Okay. And does that translate to Swarm of Doves or something else?
Yeah,
It does. Okay. All right. So that is my brief thoughts on the film. But Abdullah, what did you think?
I think I really didn't like it. For one thing, they butchered the actual story.
Oh, did they?
So yeah, they did, and a lot of the dialogue, like I felt, this was just bad and stinted, and the story, like the story of the kid and his mom, was also I thought like filler. But like it's a great story. It's worth learning about it, especially like or Quaithe kids to learn about what happened on that day, about the people who died and what happened at that house, especially that those in the movie there are two in reality there are three houses that became museums that kids go to visit in school trip. I did when I was I think in middle school. We
Really?
did take yeah, we did take a trip to go and see those houses and like walked inside it.
Wow.
uh, I, I like they didn't do it justice. This actual story, like that, and like some of the dialogue was weird. Like some of it, like some things they said was like they're like somebody wrote it in English and they Google translated it. And it's like no, this is not an actual,
Ah.
say people would say yeah, like they said open fire, but they translated open fire. That's not how you would say it.
Yeah, I mean the dialogue certainly felt melodramatic at times, and the main character, whose name I can't remember, is often like brooding, and there's kind of like comedic banter between some of the other characters. So it kind of felt silly at times, and then really serious at other times. But yeah, I did mind it, and I thought the action was okay. But yeah, definitely a bit hammy, and like the sort of evil Iraqi intelligence officer was a bit over the top. I thought, just cackling away as the house was under fire. So yeah, I take your point. But that's interesting that you actually went to the museum. Was it did it retain some of the damage that it experienced during the battle, or had they restored it all?
No, no, it is preserved as is. You
Wow.
can, if you wanted to, you can go and visit and see the houses. I'm gonna put it in the DM if you wanna see what it's look like.
And I think I read it's called the El Qurain Martyrs Museum. What
Yeah.
does it actually have in it? Is it all about the war, or is it about other things as well?
Uh, they're preserved. It's basically, as it's stated, it's martyrs, and they're trying to preserve what people did
Mm.
to fight back.
Yeah.
And this is one of the biggest casualties. I don't know if you saw that picture I just sent you.
Yeah. 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 I can.
Do you see where
Wait. Yeah. There's a big hole in the.
Yeah.
So that's still like that.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think this image says from 2010, but I think it's still the same.
It is an amazing story. What do you think the film was missing that it should have included to do the story justice?
I think the dialogue, all of it, like it's not realistic.
Hmm.
The idea that a guy is about to die and all he's talking about as being patriotic, I thought that was bullshit.
Yeah.
It's not what real people would talk. It's not like as I don't know if you want to go to George, since we're related. This podcast and in a way related to Ice and Fire.
Mm.
George got it right. That's not what people would talk about when they're dying, right? Yeah, I found like the very patriotic kind of tone of it is over the top.
Mm.
One thing that you touched on is the acting of the main guy, like the leader of that group, and he was overacting, and I think that's probably a miscasting because he's a comedian, and I don't know why he was playing a serious role. you know that's one. The other, also, the one of the other guys in that movie was like the he was like stupid, and that's not what the real guy was like, at
Hmm.
least from what I read about the real guy.
Yeah.
Like, was being very rash and hot-headed, and also that's bad acting. And the reason I think that's bad acting because they casted a musician rather than an actor in that
Oh,
role.
right. Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He was like he wasn't not just a musician. He's a musician who grew famous from reality TV because I think he won, or he probably was one of the runner-ups of
Hmm.
like the Arabic version of American Idol.
It was quite a patriotic film. Like the opening is these little kids singing the anthem below the flag, and the kind of climax of the film is, they've been banned from displaying the flag this whole time, and they finally raise it above the building in this act of defiance against the tanks. And it's the sense of camaraderie is very much around, key identity and sacrificing ourselves for the greater good. I'm wondering if part of that was because it's one of the first films about the Gulf War. Maybe there was pressure to make it this kind of gung ho celebration, or not a celebration, but a kind of a uplifting story. I don't know. What do you think?
This is kind of a problem not limited to this movie. There are a
Mm.
lot of bad TV shows that are back at home, back in Kuwait. There are good ones that come every once in a while, but I'm not sure if the patriotic undertones is the reason. I
Hmm.
think probably it's first draft syndrome. I don't think like they went back and rewrote it or tried to do something with it. I'm not sure if that's the reason. I think probably the other reason, which is some things they got right, and I think they wanted to highlight, is the unity, which is, I think, what escaped you, but it didn't escape me, because like, of course, you wouldn't be able to pick that up. Is
Mm.
that they were trying to highlight how this group, the group of people who fought in that house, came from what are considered now kind of not political allies in a way. So they highlighted like the two sects of Islam, like people were together, they were praying together, even though they belonged to two different sects.
Oh,
And they
really?
also highlighted, yeah,
Okay.
I noticed that.
Yep.
I noticed that even in the dialogue, but which, like, I wouldn't blame you. You
Mm.
wouldn't know what it is. But if you took a closer look at the prayer scene, you would have seen not everybody was doing the same ritualistic, prayer.
Hmm.
They were doing different version of it.
Yep.
Uh, but also there are things in the dialogue which I saw it translated as is, and the thing is, like, you wouldn't know what it is
Hmm.
unless you know what would that means. So that was like something they tried. And the other thing is also the other two things, the divide and cultures between rural and urban. They also highlighted that everybody who were fighting in that house, came in from all walks of life. They were
Hmm.
united. I
Interesting.
think probably that's like one of the main reasons they made that movie, is like to show the unity, especially like lately, and I think probably in 2017 it was definitely around that time. There was a lot of instability
Oh, okay. Like
politically.
fighting between different groups,
Yeah.
or tension between different
Yeah,
groups.
yeah. I might not be up to today, so I might be getting facts wrong. But like around that time, and I think in the years prior, the parliament kept dissolving over and over and over because they wouldn't come to, wouldn't see eye to eye. They wouldn't, get together and work together. There was a lot of,
Well, the director, did say something to that effect, which was, or maybe it was the producer. Either way, they said the aim of the film is not to create any grudge, but to highlight the brotherhood, tolerance, and unity Kuwaitis experienced during the invasion. They were trying to capture some of that sense of unity as an antidote to contemporary tensions. One thing I did appreciate was that it did try to humanize the Iraqis to some extent, or at least some of them, in the interactions where one gets captured. The Kuwaiti soldier is saying, why did you invade us? Why did you invade us? We're neighbors. Why have you done this? And the Iraqi soldier admits, I'm a veteran from the 8-year war. They took my children. If I don't fight, they'll hurt my family. I have as much choice as you do in this situation. And even said, even is calling, I can get you out of this. I can get you out of this. And then there's another soldier who seems very reluctant to actually engage in combat and has memories of his father telling him about Kuwait and the fact that they're neighbors and will go visit them someday. So it wasn't, apart from the intelligence officer, it wasn't necessarily trying to demonize the Iraqi or individual Iraqi soldiers so much as presenting them as at least the infantry as equally victims of circumstance.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I really like those scenes. The ones I didn't like is that one of the soldiers was like having premonitions, and that was odd. They didn't see the point of it.
I don't even remember that premonition.
The guy who would see the water turns into blood, he would see the guy's dead.
Oh.
Those were weird scenes.
Yeah, right.
Like added nothing. They're trying to be, I don't know, clever and show. Is it foreshadowing maybe in a way? But no, that wasn't interesting at all. It was just weird insertions in the movie.
The other thing I didn't quite connect with was the dove imagery or the dove metaphor. I couldn't quite figure out what the narrator was trying to get at. And then there's like an actual dove that one of the soldiers is caring for throughout the film.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why. Like, I don't know if it's like related to. I thought it was a poem because something they said. And it's like, no, it doesn't even rhyme like a poem. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what's the point of the dove. It's like even the kid.
Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It did seem like a sort of an early draft, like, put something in about doves. It's related to peace or, Kuwaiti unity, and we'll figure it out in a revision. But they never got around to it.
And even like the kid and his mom was also a weird thing that has nothing to do with the movie. Like they're trying to force it to make us like a cohesion between what the kid. It's like, no, that's like weird. And even like another weird thing is that at the start of it, which is you highlighted about like the patriotic thing that the kid would sing at the school. I was one of those kids who were like leading.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there are 3 chants. They only said 2 of them in the movie. I don't know why they left out the 3rd one. That was interesting.
Yeah, right. The other thing I really disliked was the ending. It felt really... it just felt like they cut before they concluded anything. Like they didn't actually want to show all the soldiers get killed. They wanted to end on a slightly hopeful note, but it just kind of fizzled out for me.
So my gripe is a lot with the ending is that they showed that basically everybody died, and that's not true. And okay, let me dial back. So what they showed is something about like this group. So there were 31 people in total in that group. At least from me Googling, I might be wrong. Like what if I Googled might be wrong, sorry. Mm-hmm. So there were 31 people in total. They started as a kind of a guerrilla militia in a way, attacking, and they stopped around November of 1990. They stopped because of the Iraqi forces started to gather intelligence about them. And they switched their effort from killing soldiers toward helping the community. And that's why if you saw in the movie the guy who's like delivering water to the neighbors. So that was like the reason that was put in the movie, because that's what they were doing up until January, which is not where the story started. The story got us toward their ending, but around January when the coalition's forces started to enter, here where they resumed their activity. That day, which is toward the end of the war, it's actually 2 days before the end of the war, there were 19 people in the house. The reason, apparently, at least from, again, me trying to find information online, is that the reason the Iraqi forces were at the house is that they were trying to loot before they leave the area. And something similar to what they depicted in the movie, one guy jumped in, over the fence, and one guy shot at him, and here where the whole thing escalated. Out of the 19 people, 3 died. 9 were taken hostages and were killed, executed later on. But there are people who survived, and this movie doesn't show that anyone survived.